Welcome back, and thank you for remaining with us. You're still watching Financial Markets. This is our final segment of the show, and in this segment, of course, we look particularly into the summary of a trading day as of course yesterday. And of course, we've seen the top gainers, we've seen the bottom losers, we've seen the other players on the market. And now let's look at the summary of the entire market as it ran yesterday. Now, closing yesterday, Monday 25th July 2022, the markets, of course, that is the first weekday, had a total of 84,700 shares that were traded yesterday, corresponding to a total market value of 2.67 million Ugandan shillings. And of course, the current market capitalization was driven to 21.4 trillion Ugandan shillings. And based on this data, we see that on aggregate, there were only 4 listed equities that participated in trading, ending with 8 gainers, whom we have seen, that have been led by Stanbic Bank Uganda at a 4.79% share price appreciation. And then we are seeing that on the losing side, we had only one loser who lost value by 2.49%, and he was MTN Uganda. Stanbic Bank, however, recorded also the highest volume on the market of 76,300 shares, followed by Cipla Quality Chemicals Industries Limited at 4,500 shares, and Wumeme at 2,100 shares yesterday. Regarding the performance of the indices, we see that the all-share index went up by over 1.81 points, and that's a 0.15% gain in price, closing at 1,245.42 points, representing a 1-week gain of 0.17. So finally, we have a weekly gain for our index of 0.17%, and a 4-week gain still of 8.74%, meaning overall we are seeing a very good improvement in as regards the all-share index performance here. And as I said, the all-share index tracks the performance of all the listed equities on the stock market, and definitely looks at their aggregate performance. Now, we had an overall year-to-date performance of a loss of 12.34%, and that was, of course, on the all-share index. But regarding the local company index that monitors the performance of the domestically listed equities, we had about 0.78% decrease in the local company index, meaning as regards the performance of the domestic equities, there was a slight decline, and this drove the points to 274.03 points, making it a 1-week loss of 1.18% and a 4-week gain of 0.18%, while we are seeing a year-to-date loss of 15.59%. And of course, that was the Uganda Securities Exchange data. Here on the show, we analyzed data as regards the performance for the previous day. The markets are about to close in about 27 minutes, and definitely things could turn out different depending on how people trade, depending on how the price movements are done. And definitely the price movements for especially our local companies here depend on you and me being able to buy stock or being able to sell stock at a particular pricing. And given the fact that we are seeing demand and supply play out on the market, it also depends on how much demand is placed on a certain stock. So it's an open market, it's a free market, and if you are interested in trading on this market, right now it is open for trade, and you can reach out to Uganda Securities Exchange via www.use.com. they will be able to guide you on how to get started. You can read about the SCD account. You can read about the securities that are listed. You can read about the markets, how they are in real time, and you can also see how various companies are announcing maybe for their annual general meetings. And like recently we have seen DFCU Bank of Baroda last week, they all held their annual general meetings. And so if you want to keep still updated on all that information, you can visit Uganda Securities Exchange, who are in charge of the stock markets and also other securities here in Uganda, mandated of course by the Capital Markets Authority. Now let's move away from Uganda and move into Nairobi a little bit here. Now the Nairobi Stock Exchange, the principal stock exchange for Kenya, is a very major stock exchange here in East Africa, and we cannot talk about stock markets without talking about this particular market, because as you all know, it is the largest stock market in East Africa that trades over 65 listed equities and a couple of other securities, including bonds and the bills, and of course one of the most active and most traded on stocks here in East Africa. And looking at the Nairobi Stock Exchange, it began in 1954 as the East African Stock Exchange, and the BOAS is based in Nairobi, which is the capital of Kenya. And it's one of the fastest growing economies there, that is the Kenyan economy. And on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, we see the same being reflected by the figures that we see, depending on how these markets on a daily are trading. These markets are very active with daily trades, with gainers that are coming onto the market, losers, and with participants on the market as well, very large in number. Over about 70% at least participate in daily trades on the listed equities. In 2014, the stock exchange demutualized and got listed on the exchange itself, the Nairobi Stock Exchange, and we see that it raised over 627 million Kenyan shillings in this IPO and became listed on the exchange. And that is of course a very great achievement for any exchange. And one of the regulations, of course, by the capital markets is for an exchange to demutualize and list on that particular exchange, because that also rules out some of the disagreements on governance, on management and so on. Because when you become a public company, then you are accountable to the public, you become accountable to the shareholders, you become more accountable, because there you can even you're supposed to publish your financial results. You're supposed to update people on what's going on in the company. People have a say in who becomes CEO and who doesn't, who is reappointed and who doesn't. So one of the milestones any stock exchange should achieve is demutualizing. And even our own exchange here in Uganda, we're looking at it demutualizing not very far in the near future, and we hope that will also come to pass very soon. Now, regarding the performance of the index, that is the benchmark index, the Nairobi All-Share Index, we see that the index went up by 0.03 points, and this particular increase was 0.02% daily gain in points. And regarding the aggregate performance, we had 46 Nairobi Securities Exchange listed equities participate in trading, ending with 22 gainers and 14 losers. And Car and General Kenya led the gainers there at 9.89%. Share price appreciation, closing the day with 47.8 Kenyan shillings per share. He was followed by Longhorn Publishers, who came in at a 7.55% gain, and Uchumi Supermarket, who came in at a 5.56% gain, and Centum Investment Company at a 3.76% gain there. On the losing side, Olympia Capital Holdings came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 9.54% at Kenyan shillings 2.18 per share. And then he was followed by Stanbic Holdings, who lost by 6.37%. And of course, East African Cables there at 5.26% loss, while Kabasid Investments came in at a 3.07% loss. Safaricom traded the highest volumes as usual almost, but not as usual. Sometimes you don't have Safaricom coming in with the highest volume. But yesterday it came with a volume of over 2.31 million shares on a single trading day. And this is exactly why when we talk about the Kenyan stock market, we are talking about a very profound market in East Africa. If a single counter can trade 2.3 million shares and then even the next day does the same thing and the other day, it means that people are really trading and people are interested in this market. That's why it's important that we also look at it. And you can as well invest in it despite the fact that you're in Uganda, despite the fact that you're not a Kenyan. It's a free market. I mean, there are avenues. You can approach stockbrokers and they can guide you on how to trade on the Kenyan market. Now, regarding the other companies, Equity Group Holdings traded 189,200 shares in volumes. Kenya Power and Lighting Company traded 168,500 shares in volume, and those were a few that I could highlight that did some activity on the market. Now, in 46 Nairobi Stock Exchange listed equities participated in trading, and of course, regarding the performance of these, these companies, the index went up by 1.51 points, and that is a 1.11% increase, 38.08 points, representing a 1-week loss of 0.32% and a 4-week gain of 17.81%, but an overall year-to-date loss of 17.05%. Now let's look a little bit into the top gainer here, who is Car and General. Car and General is a Kenya-based holding company engaged in the sales and service of power equipment, household goods, agricultural tractors and implements, and of course marine engines, motorcycles, motor cars, three-wheeler vehicles, commercial industry, laundry equipment, commercial engines, and general goods. The company's operating segments include trade and service of power equipments, household goods, agricultural tractors, and so on. And the Car General has been listed on the Nairobi Stock Exchange as CGEN. That is their ticker symbol on the NSE. The International Securities Identification Number for the company is 109KE, and that is with a couple of zeros in between there. And of course, Car General Limited is the 36th most valuable stock on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, with the current market capitalization of 1.92 billion Kenyan shillings, and that's about 0.8089% of the Nairobi Stock Exchange total equity market. And the company also has 40.1 million shares outstanding that are valued at 1.92 billion. Now, based on this performance, we are seeing that the company has a 1-week gain of 9.26%, and Car General began the year with a price of 33.95 Kenyan shillings and has since gained 40.8% on the price valuation, ranking it the first in terms of year-to-date performance. So the first company in terms of year-to-date performance is Car and General on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now that's important for you who is going to invest in Kenya and you don't know about Car and General. At least I've told you it is the number one performer based on year-to-date. So 40.38% gain, over 40% gain on the stock price since January 1st, meaning people who bought shares in this company in January, before January the 1st, have gained, or actually on January the 1st, have gained 40% of value on that particular stock. According to how much they bought, they have gained over 40% value more on that stock. And of course, that is the best performance in terms of year to date on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. And then when we look at the monthly performance, shareholders of course can be optimistic that Car and General of course is one of the most highly performing stocks, knowing that it has accrued over 14% over a period of 4 weeks. That is the 10th best performance based on the monthly performance in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now, Car and General is the 48th most traded stock in terms of trading volumes on the Nairobi Stock Exchange over the past 3 months. That is from April 21st of April to the 25th of June 2022. And Car and General has traded 86,800 shares in 133 deals that are at over 1.45 million over the period. Now, with an average of 584 traded shares per session, it is also still one of the most valuable stocks, like you've had, coming into the 48th position. A volume high of 2,800 was achieved on the 28th of June within the same period. And of course, we see those volumes here as well. That is Car and General, who came in topmost position at the end of the day. And now let's look into Stanbic Holdings. Remember, Stanbic Holdings is a subsidiary bank group. Now, Stanbic Holdings Kenya is also a subsidiary of the Standard Bank Group in South Africa. They're engaged in the banking sector, and the bank's activities are structured into 3 business segments, mainly the corporate and investment banking, which provides commercial and investment financial services such as global markets, transactional products and services, investment banking, wealth management, and business banking as well. So this is one of the largest banks here that we're seeing, but is also listed on the exchange here in Nairobi. Now, the current market capitalization is 39.2 billion Kenyan shillings, and it's the 10th most valuable stock. So if you're looking at big shares, you're looking at Stanbic Holdings as one of the boys there to give you that share of the day. Now, regarding the performance of this particular counter, there was a 6.4% drop from the previous close of 106, meaning on a daily it lost. But Stanbic Bank began the year with a share price of 87.25 Kenyan shillings and has since shed off 13 points on that price valuation, ranking it the 9th on the Uganda Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. However, shareholders can be optimistic about Stanbic Holdings, knowing that their stock has accrued 8% over the past 4 weeks, and that is the 16th best on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Stanbic Holdings is the 11th most traded on the Nairobi Stock Exchange over the past 3 months, with a traded volume of 10.8 million shares since 21st of April, the 25th of July, the year 2022. 2022. And that is, of course, a little brief summary. Those two companies there, Car in general, and of course, Stanbic Bank can give you opportunities. At least you can buy some shares in Stanbic Holdings here in Uganda. You can also buy some in Kenya and compare how your stock will have performed depending on when you have invested. And of course, our role here is to give you information that will help you to be in the know as regards book prices and the performance of the different stocks, their history, their governance, any news coming in from these companies, and what's happening in the world of business as well. Thank you very much for remaining with us. And of course, we are now going into our top story here, and then we will call it a day. But just a humble reminder, if you are currently in somewhere you have a smartphone or you have a small phone and you want to test and see if you can be able to buy securities in Kenya right now, you can dial *292#, and that is using the Zabu initiative. And of course, with Altex East Africa, they're giving you a chance to invest in securities across East Africa with the convenience of your mobile phone. Without need to access the internet, you can be able to buy these securities and trade on them use yourself without an intermediate or without anyone trying to actually mediate between you and the exchange, between you and the country you're trying to trade in, as long as you're trading within East Africa, that is Uganda, Rwanda, Kenya, and Tanzania. And of course, they are making it fast and easy for you to be able to enjoy some of the benefits that come with investment in the financial markets. And now, talking about financial markets, still the stock markets, of course, here in Uganda, under the Uganda Securities Exchange are mandated. They are actually supposed to have annual general meetings where they present financial results for the previous years. And last week, the DFCU bank counter was able to present financial results to its shareholders and, of course, give them a little bit of what happened. Now, DFCU has, of course, seen several things like we have seen in the market, a very stable market there, but they have laid out a plan to stimulate their profitability. And of course, during the period ended December 2021, DFCU's net profits dropped by 46% to 13.2 billion Ugandan shillings due to the increase in the non-performing loans. Speaking at the 57th virtual annual general meeting in Kampala, Mr. Matthias Katamba, who is the DFCU Bank, the managing director, said that the bank was going to diversify its financial streams in the coming year, include retail, personal retail business, and corporate banking. The move, he said, seeks to ensure that a bank's recovery is effective Fred Makubuya, and later on we shall be having Skill Up and UG Jane Kolera, and you will be able to catch all those shows if you remain tuned on Smart 24. Ciao, see you tomorrow.